Welcome to the Seshat Heka Ma'at podcast. Peace to everyone. See a little spelling error that I got to fix after the show. Yes, but hopefully this episode finds everyone in Uncle Johnson Ed, which is life, prosperity, and good health. I find those things are more important than material things, especially nowadays when we have so much fighting against our health and the quality of it. Today's episode is talking about returning to balance, healing ourselves, and exposing Isfet among us. Isfet. Exposing negative, traumatic, whatever does not do mankind any good. Isfet. Negative energetic forces. I would say created by the free will of man. Isfet. It's a very selfish and negative energy. Chaotic. Causing disharmony. Anything that takes us away from Ma'at, I would say, is Isfet. Let us begin with our opening Medu Netter. Hotep dis Netter Ma'at. Hekau Desur Swit. Peace given by the Neteret Ma'at, sacred words to dispel shadows. Ankh and Ma'at, Uben Ma'at, Dejed Ma'at, Eb en Sinet. Live Ma'at, rise Ma'at. Speak Ma'at from the heart of the sister. Ni Isfet Ma'at Uhem. No to Isfet. Ma'at returns again. So let us begin with segment 1. Ma'at and the mirror. Let's repeat that. Ma'at and the mirror. Loving ourselves is revolutionary. Today we remember that to bring Ma'at into the world, we must first bring her into ourselves. How can we speak truth to others if we lie to ourselves about what we feel, what we need, and how we're being treated? Self-care is not a trend. It's ancient law. That's right. When we treat our bodies with reverence, our minds with peace, and our spirits with compassion, we are aligning with the divine blueprint. You are a living altar of Ma'at. Remember in the other book, they say your body is a temple of the living God. Well, that is true. But the living God part, your body is actually a temple of Ma'at. If you are a living altar of Ma'at, ask yourself daily, or let us say, we must ask ourselves daily, because once again, I am Tanya 23. I'm just the moderator of the Seshat Heka Ma'at podcast. She's in control of the whole thing. Ask yourself daily, am I giving myself enough rest? Well, here we go already. I can attest to that one. I surely need to give myself more rest. It's definitely on my to-do list, sooner than later. Am I feeding myself with love and attention? A lot of us like to think so, but evaluate that. Am I listening to the wisdom of my emotions? Sometimes in the busy, chaotic realm of this life, it is so busy. Just when do you get to sit down to ask yourself these questions? And then give yourself some answers. You got to carve out this time. You must. It's a must. And I'm most certainly taking this advice. The truth about Isfet. Isfet isn't just evil. Isfet is imbalance. That's a better word. When it's when someone's free will chooses manipulation, greed, deception, or ego-driven chaos. And here's the truth. We've all entertained Isfet. We've all chosen silence over truth, comfort over clarity. But now is the time to tell those we love, I love you, but I can no longer enable your imbalance. You're still family, but I won't co-sign your spiritual disorder. Talking to loved ones about Isfet. Well, sometimes those two sentences, they don't come out quite like that. Especially in the Black community, they might come out as, yo, I'm not jacking how you moving, son. Or for the ladies, that be, or queen, I'm not jacking how you moving, queen. Yeah. You don't want that to happen. I just got a notice. Hold on. It says my browser has lost connection to my camera. Well, that's okay. Let's just do it like that. No big deal. Back to where we were. Excuse me for that short little thing there. Talking to loved ones about Isfet. Yes, not easy. Here's some suggestions. Use I feel instead of you did when you are telling the truth about Isfet. When you're talking to friends, family, whoever, letting them know that you're not jacking how they moving, son. In other words, I love you, but I can no longer enable your imbalance. You still my peoples though. Or you're still family, but I won't co-sign your spiritual disorder. Use I feel instead of you did so and so. When you're speaking to those whose egos are so easily bruised, we try not to start out with pointing the finger at what they did, which is actually the problem. But in order to get to them, you've got to use reverse psychology, they say. And so you've got to start with yourself. Even if it wasn't you that you're talking about, you still must start with you. Explain that Isfet or imbalanced energy causes suffering cycles. That's a good way to say life's going to kick you in the tail. Or we could use suffering cycles. Yeah, that works. Share with them that Ma'at is a higher vibration, and we all deserve to live in truth. Now, you definitely love yourself when you realize that. We all deserve to live in our truth or to live in truth. And that is not to just accept everything from everyone, or they might be supporting you or doing something for you, and so that you feel you have to turn a blind eye to Isfet. Well, the great mother Seshat Heka Ma'at is here to let you know and rid you of those obligations that you thought you had. You are no longer obligated to accept anything and everything from anyone just because they might be taking care of you or employing you or having your very your financial situations in their hands. And so you feel indebted. Well, your debt is to Ma'at and to Ma'at only. You don't know anyone else anything besides yourself. But even before you become the self, Ma'at is there. I was going to say something, but I think I'll save that. Ma'at is a higher vibration. When we talk about the 42 laws of Ma'at, and we talk about if we can follow them on a daily basis or make them part of our lifestyle consistently, one might say, those are too many laws. There's 42 of them. My goodness, I wouldn't have been able to think about one while I'm violating the other, and vice versa, and so on. And so we've admitted we have no discipline and that we don't desire to be better towards mastering our disciplines. They say, when you seek it, speak it. Who is they? They is I am she, and she is me. I said that. But it came from such a ancestral, ancient place in me. I attributed it to they. It is not they, it is I. And it is you who carry the wisdom within. It wants to come out now. You can't continue to dumb yourself down because you're around others that aren't as intelligent as you are in your spiritual lifestyle, your quest, your journey, your lifestyle you might be trying to build, trying to change maybe. That is most certainly a feat of challenge. To be in a certain lifestyle and change to another. That is a great challenge. They say don't get stuck on one path. But I say you better get stuck on the path of Ma'at. There are a lot of people that say don't get stuck in the Kemetic teachings and the Kemetic this and the Kemetic that, and there's a lot more to this and that, but we understand this. But again, no matter what culture, what lifestyle you follow, Ma'at would be the foundation of it, if it is worth following at all. It has to have the components of truth, justice, harmony, love, peace, and balance, reciprocity, giving and receiving, the fruits of the spirits that they say, joy, love, peace, compassion, positiveness. On earth, there is such a thing as called a courthouse. And as you can see in my thumbnail here, Seshat, I am holding the scales of Ma'at. And there's a such thing on earth they call the courthouse. A lot of times it's where people go to settle matters of law and to settle issues and discrepancies that they have with one another, when it all boils down to, what does Mother Law say about your issue, your discrepancy with this other being? How do we handle discrepancies upon the earth? Well, it's held up against something called the law. What is the real law? Well, you've got earthly law, which is this law that comprises of fees, tickets, and fines and different things if you cross the line or don't quite make the line. Then you would have to pay a fine. Well, in the laws of Ma'at, that is where your court of law got their laws from, the original mother of all laws. So these, I guess one religion calls them commandments, but they're actually confessions. And they're supposed to be negative confessions of how you have not crossed these laws. And they start out with, I will not, or I have not. It's actually, I have not. So when you read down these 42 laws, and you're starting with, I have not, but in truth, you have, then that means you've got to work on that. You've got to turn that I have into I have not. It could be something simple as, I have not eaten what is not mine. Well, if you ate something that didn't belong to you and that you did not pay for or acquire yourself, that would mean you're taking it from somebody else that owns it, which makes you a thief. Something as small as that. Well, we've evolved now. That's a small thing. All it was an apple, and then the apple turned into a chicken, and then the chicken turned into a car, and now you're getting carjacked. Is that okay? So, small violations can turn into large violations. These violations have the capacity to trap your soul from freedom. Because in the end, there's a grand meeting that must take place. It's called the weighing of the heart ceremony. A ritual of sorts. And it happens whenever our soul transitions out of this realm to wherever it's going to be. But it's there for an eternity. And so, our ancient ancestors took the time and they gave us the tools and the know-how, the wherewithal to get ourselves together, purify, detox. But not on a physical level this time. We're going to detox on a spiritual level, and we're going to do it together. We are the world, and we are the children of the netters. It's very funny. Sometimes you feel like a nut. Pause. But then you think, is my, short time span of nuttiness worth a lifetime of imprisonment? My aunt, she is that still little voice that speaks to you in the nick of time and right on time. It speaks to you just before you make your decisions. She lays it all out for you. And you do have a chance to choose the right way. What is the right way? Well, the right way is most certainly the Ma'at way. In another couple of segments from now, we're going to delve into how life situations fall in the 42. I need a little time to get that presentation, extract that information, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do categories. And on categories, I'm going to have one that says relationships, right? And then, there's different relationships. There's friends, there's romance, And so we're going to separate how different things that come up falls in the 42 of my, because every single situation in life itself that could occur that you would have to make a decision about, they're covered in that 42. They didn't miss none. If I have enough time at the end of this segment, we'll roll right on into it. Because let's just take, let's see, something that goes on a lot. That's Isfet. Let's see. Depriving people of basic necessities that they need in life. Well, if you walked into a store and you said, "Ma'am, I'm so hungry. Could you please help me with a pack of candy or something in the store that I could just put in my mouth and satisfy my hunger for a moment?" "Ma'am, I'm sorry, I can't help you. You'll have to leave the store." And say you decide to pick up something and just shove it in your mouth. And now you've committed a crime against the store. But is it a crime against nature is the question. Did picking up that pack of sugary candy in the store that you shoved in your mouth due to severe hunger, and you caught a charge of petty larceny, and now you're being whisked off to jail? But did you commit a crime? These are the things that we are going to explore for the earthlings, because you need to know what breaks spiritual law and what breaks physical law. My advice to you is take some time thinking about that spiritual law, because see, while you're being a very good citizen, in a lot of ways, you're breaking the laws of the spiritual realm. And let's face it, if you're over 50, you better be thinking about that. Yes. Talking to your loved ones about Isfet. How about them families? Them families with them secrets. Those ones that you see playing out on Judge Judy and Paternity Court and all those kinds of shows, Judge Mathis and whatnot. Perhaps towards the end of this podcast, and I do mean like, the journey of this podcast, because this is something that this digital temple has been created solely for the purpose of helping myself and others get back to Ma'at, because it's not our fault that we strayed so far away. I can give us that, because if you did not know, how could you be at fault? But see, now we know. Now we have what we need, even on down to the most basic human who may not even have a home, but what he has is a chance for his soul to be redeemed. His pockets may never be redeemed on this planet, but his soul can have a chance. Would you say that's value? The illusion is to keep you in confusion about what is really important. Well, at this stage of being middle-aged and having the experience of Tanya 23, some may say, what does that mean? Let me take a moment to expound. After a sip, well, what it means is I have had and continue to have the skills to pay the bills in the spiritual life and in this physical one too. What gives you the credentials to say that? My life. And it is written, if anyone is interested in what makes me who I am, my life story up until now is written, and it is available on Amazon.com. It's called Amazing Grace by Tanya. No, it's Seshat Heka. I also have some books under the name Tanya Alston, Alston. And My very first book, Seasons Change, Nothing Stays the Same, The Gift. I would park my Mercedes truck at the bus stop and ride the bus to my employment so I would have a time to write. So I wrote my first of 13 books on a bus in the city of Baltimore as I rode down the city streets, looking at the chaos and Isfet and mayhem that has taken over such a historical place. Baltimore is very interesting. Quite a spirit in that place. It sits on the cuff of the East Coast and the South. It moves either way in culture. A very interesting people are here. And I appreciate my location on the planet right now. It allowed me to find more of myself. I wrote my first book in the land of Baltimore. I shall always be grateful. I also came back to myself in Baltimore. So even though I'm a native New Yorker, I owe a lot of my consciousness veil being pulled off to actually New York City and Baltimore. Seeing the devastating state makes you open your eyes. And thank goodness you didn't start out here. People say, what in the world made you move to Baltimore? And I say, nothing but the goodness of the Creator. I'm needed here. I actually can do some things here. What did they say? The goddess goes where she is needed. But what you need to worry about is talking to them loved ones about Isfet. Because see, my name is Tanya 23. And if you Google what the word Tanya means, the meaning of the name, my dear, it means worthy. Where's my hammer over here? Where's my hammer over here? Hold on, I got to get my little hammer. Because I got to have order in the court. My name is Tanya by birth, which means worthy to be praised. But I don't have an ego. But I don't never let nobody walk all over me. Don't even step. That's what happens when you know who you are. And Ma'at certainly knows who she is. Justice is in her hands as well. So treat her with respect and reverence. Every time you let that hard-headed loved one, the one that liked to snatch old ladies' pocketbooks, the one that likes to steal from his family member that gave him a place to stay when no one else would, let him sleep on the couch, that one that goes bump in the night, likes to collect pictures of children. You know those family members because they live with somebody. Not all of them are in some dark and clammy basement hiding from the planet. These people live around family members who allow their imbalances to thrive. You may pat them on their back, but when they get in society, somebody's going to check that. Pause. And then you want to holler and scream about somebody done touched my baby. But your baby didn't know how to act in society. So he had to learn the hard way. It happens to the best of us. But if and when it happens, hopefully you learn and change, do something different. Don't keep kicking your own behind. That doesn't sound intelligent. And that's the thing. A lot of people don't want to be told when they doing stupid shit. We just gonna keep it 1,000. And it's because of fear of others. Are you afraid of your family members? Well, then stop calling them family members then, because you're supposed to be able to trust some of them. Do you trust your family? Do you trust your friends? Well, then that means you can tell them when they doing wrong. We had 2 listeners. One just dropped off. There go the other one. Guess they won't be telling their families that they saw them do that thing that they saw them do. It's like being in a domestic situation and your spouse knows that you're the only one cleaning the home. So they go and leave some toothpaste in the sink. And then here you come to brush your teeth. And your worst nightmare is to see somebody else's toothpaste in the sink when you're about to brush your teeth. Now, you've got a challenge. What are you going to do? Are you just going to clean it and go ahead on about your day? Or are you going to say something to the one you know that did it? And are you going to allow them to clean up their mess? That's the difference between working with others, following Ma'at together. Use a word called accountability. That's it. But you can take that word like it was a soccer ball and kick it as far as the east is from the west. Ma'at is accountability. They have created dictionaries and dictionaries of words. Seshat knows because she's the great recorder. Nothing gets recorded in the great library of the spiritual world without Seshat. Call her the head librarian of the Akashic records of this planet. Seshat, wife of the great Tahuti, Hermes Trismegistus, Thoth. Well, when you see him with the great pen and he's writing, someone else is recording as well. That would be Seshat. Very powerful goddess who is not spoken about enough because your court systems, your record keeping systems, your vast and most egregorian record keeping system was created are a goddess. And y'all gonna stop taking the credit for everything, Mr. White Man. You didn't create that, and you didn't create much of nothing. Everything you know, you came and got it out of the civilization of Kemet. From the very day you got there and started digging in the sand. That's all she wrote. But with Ma'at, all is well that ends well, baby. They were pawns and they were used. Someone had to go digging through all that sand and extract the information so we could actually have it back. Thank you. We really appreciate that. Now, if you would just tell society the truth of the matter, well, now, maybe some of that karma that you got coming to you might lift up. There's a couple more things you have to do before that, which is another podcast for another time. And my fidget spinner pyramid, I don't have time for it. As the cliffs spin. Back to it. Are you scared of your loved ones? Because I bet you thought I forgot, didn't you? No, I didn't. You scared of that big old burry gorilla looking sucker always coming around huffing and puffing. You scared if you get in his ass. You don't like the way he pull up to your house with all that music banging and shaking your windows and whatnot, and he got to get out with his homeboys and they got the weed smoking out the car and all this stuff. That's not quite your forte. But to each his own. But don't bring it in your house. And now you got to tell him. Now you got to tell him. Are you scared? Well, don't be. If that is your family member, you tell them. I feel like your Isfet energy is going to cause some suffering cycles in the family. Now remember, you're talking to an ignorant fool who drinks 40 ounces of beers, smokes black and milds and blunts, and he might get his nose dusty a little bit here and there. And hell, if you've done all that, there might be a couple of other things you're doing. You might pop a perk or something. Children, don't you ever follow nobody that your parents don't approve of. Remember? I don't like your friend. You need to leave them alone. They're not really your speed. Oh, mama, you don't know this, that, and the other. Next thing you know. Hello, we got a collect call from the so-and-so county correction facility. Will you take the charges? Well, now you got to make a decision. And I know you mad as you want to be because you done told that child. And now we here. How do you deal with it? Well, depending on the age of the child, you get up to yourself, you say, listen here. Are you ready to go live with your friends that's out there starting trouble? They parents and everybody, if they ready to come and take care of you, because your stuff and everything, if you causing suffering cycles in the family, and I can't let you mess up your brothers and sisters' heads with what you got going on, because they gonna act like it's okay to do it. Now they gonna be doing it too. And so In order to save the family, we're going to have to sacrifice you. And you're going to have to go. It's 3 degrees outside. You're in Buffalo, New York. In the wintertime. Suddenly, those decisions you made seem even sillier to you. And so now you're ready to change your life. Just so you could get back inside and warm up. Well, your mama, she loved you. So she let you back in. But you could have been down to Miss Dorothy's house, where she got 5 people in the basement, children in the basement right now. They ain't ate all month. And they ain't allowed to talk to nobody. But you don't know how blessed you are. You keep going out there doing dumb shit. Little old fool ass child of day out there in Texas. Outlooks on the social media. They got all the children in the school held up. Some little knucklehead punk didn't get what the hell he want now. Everybody got to suffer. The cycle, let the suffering cycles begin, huh? Well, my aunt is sick and tired of y'all taking advantage of innocent folk with your craziness. I don't know how else we can explain that Isfet energy causes suffering cycles. Do you want your family and loved ones to suffer because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing in life? What are you doing? No one's listening to you. No one wants to hear that. We all have our own agendas. Well, I'm here in the spirit of Ma'at. Therefore, I'm bold, courageous, and happy to be here speaking this word on this day, right now. Who knows? Maybe one day one of my grandchildren will be surfing through YouTube and come upon the video. Come, whosoever may listen. Do not have care for the ways of the world, for they are foolish and unknowing of the ways of the Spirit. Segment 3. Let me just close this up in case, when we're talking about the truth about Isfet. We said it's not evil, it's imbalance. So if you see somebody that's living in Isfet all the time, they're imbalanced in a way. A lot of times it's diet and nutrition, and if you put trash in your body, your thoughts, your actions, and your moves are going to be trashy. Some of us can't afford to eat well. Well, then that's when you're going to have to take that Twinkie or whatever you got and bless it and make it what you need. Oh, that sounds interesting. Haven't heard that kind of talk. Stay tuned. Let's go to the next segment. Because what I wanted to say about the last segment to close out is don't be afraid to talk to your loved ones. However you talk, take your time, use your words powerfully, use the words that you think will have impact. But it's more so truth behind the words that is the power. And once it goes in, truth has its way of doing its own work. Segment 3, signs you're under the influence of Isfet. Yes, it's a sort of possession. It's a sort of demonic possession to be under Isfet. We're also going to talk about how to see it clear, or how to clear the influence of Isfet. Number 1, constant comparison. Lying to avoid confrontation. Playing small so others feel big. Gossiping or wishing harm. Spiritual laziness or numbness. How to clear it. Speak your truth even if your voice shakes. It also says you can use sound, clap your hands, or use a tuning fork. This is to clear up negative energy. How about we go on a challenge to fast from toxic conversations? Some of you wouldn't say nothing all week long if you had to do that. How can you fast from a toxic conversation? Every time you turn around, you talk about somebody. Here's an affirmation, or the affirmation of the day. I realign with Ma'at each time I choose truth, love, and balance. There we are, family. Understand that this is not some big, convoluted math problem that you need help solving. Just be you. And just remember, you realign with Ma'at. Say you made a mistake. You was doing real good. You were on a great Ma'at track. And then boom. To get back. You understand what happened. You learn from it. And you pull out what you don't want to do. And what you do want to do. Moving forward. To make better decisions. Understand you realign with Ma'at each time you choose truth, love, and balance. It's that simple most times. But I gather in any situation, you have the free will to choose truth, love, and balance. And like I said, I'm going to create a decision chart. I can see it in my mind's eye now. It's going to be broken down into some simple categories, but they're going to branch out because some of the categories we're talking about Isfet. So, and we're talking about Ma'at. So each category is going to have kind of like a, it's going to branch out like a tree branch, but it will all align back to whatever principle of Ma'at. Say the principle, I have not wasted water. Well, you're going to have a section called love of nature, and wasting water would fall in that, and so would hurting animals, that whole entire section. It's going to branch out, but it's every instance that we can think of is going to come back and align with that particular principle in Ma'at. And so, on that matter, we'll get ready to close out, and so I can get started on my research work for the next one. And we've We open and we close with Medu Netta blessings. I will read the Medu Netta and I will read the translation. Dua Ma'at Uashu En Serket Seshat Heru Nettertu Netjeru. I don't know about you guys, but something happens inside of me when I speak this Medu Netta. And it's a blessed, wonderful thing that I haven't felt no other time. Dua Ma'at Uashu In Serket Seshat Heru Nettertu Netjeru. Translation: praise to Ma'at, devotion to Serket, Seshat Heru, and the divine ones. Heka Ma'at Pet, Heka Ma'at Ta. Let the power of Ma'at reign in the heavens and in the earth. Seneb Ankh Uja Seneb. Health, life, strength, peace. Much love. Yes. Ankh Uja Seneb. Heka Ma'at Pet. Heka Ma'at Ta. Very powerful. Let the power of Ma'at reign in the heavens and in the earth. Guess what, family? Ma'at most certainly reigns in the heavens and in the earth. The laws that you see our cosmic bodies, planets, stars, suns following, it is said that Ma'at is the daughter of Ra. Ra is actually our sun. Ma'at is a daughter of the sun, Ra. So I gotta write that down because we gotta talk about that. Ma'at, she comes to render all the laws that she have control over. Justice. That's a big one. Justice on heaven and on earth. That's a big deal. So if she's the daughter of the sun, and the sun is Ra, and she is about harmony, justice, balance, truth, love. Then she is here doing the works of the sun. We're going to talk about that. Until then, Uncle Jah Seneb to everyone. Twa, Akadua, and Hotep.